Today on the Surviving the Human Experience podcast, we are going to take a journey with our guest, Chris Pizzarello, where we will be discussing the topic, finding the peace within to overcome the obstacles. So before we jump in, I'm going to share a little bit more about Chris. Just want to share his bio with our listeners so they can become familiar. Chris is an AHA clinical hypnotherapist, master hypnotist, master TFT, EFT practitioner, and advanced master NLP practitioner. Chris was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He graduated from Hunter College with a degree in biology, minor in chemistry. Chris has worked as a medical technologist for over 25 years, and in 2008, he came to a crossroads in his life where he was unsatisfied with life and was struggling. It was at this time that Chris first discovered the emotional freedom technique, also known as EFT, which he began applying in his own life. In 2009, he began working with clients, and after a client was having difficulties that were rooted more in the subconscious mind, he decided to embark upon a journey to study hypnotherapy. In 2014, he began offering EFT and hypnotherapy combination sessions to his clients in person and virtually. He currently works with clientele exclusively remotely. So, welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, I'm very excited to jump into this topic. I mean, I love EFT. I've experienced hypnotherapy, but the combination together, I think we're going to really learn some things today. So, before we dive into today's topic, I'd like to invite you to share a little bit more about your journey. I know I gave a bio, but if you could just start off by sharing with the listeners a little more about the journey you went on, the discovery and implementation of EFT in your own life, and how it's all played into your world.
I love this. When a little while after my daughter was born, I was struggling. The stress, the anxiety, the feeling of being overwhelmed. And it wasn't just from having a child. That was a joy, actually. It was all the outside world was just beginning to get too much. Uh, the job, the just everything, just not feeling satisfied. And I was very lucky because a friend brought me to a seminar, and the speaker, for about 45 seconds, talked about EFT,
Mhm.
how when they were needed to be put back in working order, they went and saw Gary Craig. Well, my
Mhm.
radar went off. I don't know anybody else who was there who even heard that, but my radar just went off, and I said, I
Mhm.
have to learn what this is about.
Mhm.
And so I found Gary Craig's website, and I learned that he was a student of Dr. Roger Callahan. So I bought Dr. Roger Callahan's book. I learned everything from Gary Craig's website, and I got started. But I said, well, this is just I'm touching the beginning of everything
Yeah.
here, and I feel that it's working, but I need to delve into this. And so I made the commitment to uh, get all of Gary's work. He had put it all on DVD, and I purchased the whole package and started studying. And as I was studying, I was getting more and more insights, and then naturally, just because I was starting to change, people became attracted to that energy, and I said, I got to work with people. They need this too.
Yeah.
So that's how I started working with clients.
Wow. Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being so honest and vulnerable. I know that we all have a journey, we all have a story, and it's unique and it's different. And it helps our listeners to just really understand like what brought you to this space and the true testimony of why it absolutely works. Because if you can share that you did it yourself, it's that much more of a success story. So today's discussion, we're going to focus on finding peace within to overcome obstacles, which there are many nowadays. We're facing a lot. There's, the autopilot that's happening. People are working, they're doing more things than ever. There's just this constant in motion. So in your work, you've discovered that oftentimes we end up placing those obstacles in our lives and have experiences that actually are limiting our ability to become the person that we wish to become. So, can you talk to us a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Well, let me tell you that we don't even realize that we're putting these obstacles in our own way. And we start putting these obstacles in our own way when we're little children. We have these negative experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and we should be enjoying like the real positive stuff like birthday parties and playing with friends. But we think about when we fell down and hurt ourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
think about that time when we broke our arm, for instance. We think about the time that we got burned. We think about when the teacher yelled at us in front of the class and we became so embarrassed. And those energies stay with us.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in trigger points inside of our body.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the body knows the score. It's really what
Yes.
it's about.
Yes.
And those obstacles show up whenever there's anything similar. The program inside of us of it's going to hurt. They're going to be mean to me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to feel embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to feel comfortable. All these things show up repeatedly. And whenever we get in that place where we're thinking about, well, these things may happen, we stop because
Mm-hmm.
we want to protect ourselves.
Right.
We don't want to be vulnerable. We don't want to be open to being hurt. And sometimes we're afraid to take chances,
Mm-hmm. So
and,
it's,
and
yeah.
yeah,
It's very fascinating what you were saying there because as I'm picturing, it's almost like the body is pulling from a memory bank. It goes back and it says, "Ooh, you look familiar. This
right.
was the outcome last time. This is probably going to be the same thing this time."
And what's really interesting is that the trigger points are in the body, but the memories outside of us in the matrix.
Yeah.
And
That part right there.
yeah,
And
and we pull it in whenever that hot spot gets touched,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we pull it in.
Yeah. So do you find that there's recurring thematic obstacles that you see with the clients that you work with? Are there patterns that seem to just keep popping up?
I think that this is very true. And I think one of the things that comes up with all clients is this confidence level that people go through. And they got this story. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good looking enough. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't nice enough. I wasn't enough.
Mm. The script that's running in the background
Mm,
subconsciously, and you don't even recognize it half the time until you're in it, and then you're like, gee, I remember this.
right. And but
Yeah.
even so, even when you recognize it, you still have those echoes that keep coming back. And I think, and it's a really good word, the echo,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps coming back at you. And it prevents you from moving forward because you say, well, I don't want to go through that again.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's that residue that's just sitting there, just reminding. It's that reminder.
Mm.
So now that we've set the stage for our conversation, I want to take listeners on a journey to learn more about the modalities and the techniques that you specifically work with to support your clients in addressing these different life challenges. So, first, let's tackle emotional freedom technique because this may be new to some of our listeners. It's simple yet effective technique to unblock and release beliefs and set yourself free from things that no longer serve you. So, for our listeners who might be new to emotional freedom technique, can you provide a little bit of history about it? Give us a glimpse as to what it is and how it works?
Well, I'll start off with this discovery. The discovery came from Dr. Roger Callahan. He was a psychologist and he had clients that he was working with, but he was working with them for an extended period of time and he wanted to get better results. And he said, well, where can I pull in some other things to help what's going on because I can talk to them and get them in the field, the
Mhm.
place, that matrix we were talking
Okay.
about,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't get them to release it. So he looked and he said, well, there was energy that's stuck. And in acupuncture and acupressure, there's different meridians on the body that's going into the Oriental medicine that help to release when there's a problem in different parts of the body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's complicated what goes on in acupuncture, but he took the most active meridians and
Mm-hmm.
places where the meridians meet to
Mm-hmm.
choose the points to tap. Now, Dr. Callahan came up with different modality. What's the word I'm looking for? He came up with different techniques. In other words, so if you have anxiety, you tap this way. If you have fear, you tap this way. If are you're having a problem with your stomach, you tap this way.
Mm-hmm.
And he started teaching this to people. And Gary Craig was one of his first class of students. And Gary was an engineer. He wasn't
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't a therapist. And he used his scientific engineering mind and said, hey, we got these points. If we tap them all, we're going to hit the right spot. So why are we dancing around trying to choose this spot over that spot? Let's just tap them all. Let's make it
Mm-hmm.
easy. Make it one easy routine.
Okay.
And when they did that, it became really accessible to more people. And that was really the genesis of what EFT came from. But the power of the results is that whether the energy stuck in your gut, in your throat,
Mm-hmm.
in your shoulders, your back, your legs, you're able to release it.
Mm. Wow. Phew. So, who would you say is a good candidate for EFT? Is there a specific type of candidate that would work better for than others, or is this something that could be used by everyone?
Well, one of the things that Gary Craig said is you can try it on everything,
Okay.
which means to me, you can use it on anyone. However, I would use a caveat on this.
Okay.
For people who have severe trauma,
Hmm.
like PTSD,
Okay.
like a violent attack,
Hmm.
I would highly suggest that they work with a skilled, trained professional
Okay.
so that who was ready to handle the things that may come up
Hmm.
because we are bringing up the images of that thing that's causing all the emotional trauma.
Hmm.
And if they're inside the trauma and there is no one there to help them to release it and go, they can go into a place where they might do some harm to themselves.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I appreciate you answering that because I was going to ask if there were individuals that should refrain from EFT, but it sounds like what I'm hearing is it's not necessarily refraining so much as it is making sure you're working with a professional who understands how to work through those different traumas and the different things that are going to come up for that client.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
and for people who are going through different things that aren't like on a scale of 100, on a scale of 1 to 10,
Hmm. Hmm.
I would say that those people can get benefit by having a script given to them
Okay.
and following the script on a regular basis.
Mm.
So, and that's what I do with my clients as we go through a tapping session
Okay.
and then I give them the script from what we did so they can
Mm.
do it again and again and again and again so they keep getting the benefit. And think of it this way, uh you heal not all at once. I
Hmm.
mean, there are these rare times where we have
Right.
these 10-minute miracles, right? That all of a sudden
Hmm.
everything goes away. But for the most part, it's going to take a little bit of time. And it's like, you cut your finger, it's going to take 3, 4, 5 days for the scab to heal and go
Mhm.
away. And that's the way I think of it. If we keep putting the ointment on, we keep putting the Band-Aid on, it's going
Right.
to get better.
Yeah.
I don't think of EFT as a Band-Aid. I think of it as a more curative.
Hmm. So that leads me to my next question. Would you say that EFT is a short-term modality, or is this something that can be incorporated into a person's life as more of a self-care routine or practice?
And I love this because I think it's both.
Okay.
Because there were so many things that it works so positively on it. And if people are stuck in a spot where they're self-sabotaging, they're having obstacles they can't get out of the way,
Hmm.
that's a short-term thing that they can move past. However, we encounter all kinds of things throughout our lives, our daily things. Like you may be stressed today. Oh, technology's not working today, and I need it to work. Oh
Right.
my, I gotta get on my computer today, and it's just not working. And you
Hmm.
become frustrated and upset. And a tapping session will just help to let go instead of it
Mm,
leaving a mark.
yeah. That's so important because there are so many of us that operate in a high stress mode and high stress environment, whether it's, that to-do list is longer than the day has hours, or coming from meetings that might be just very emotionally charged, or, sitting in traffic. And I'm sure
Oh,
that
that's a
might be
good
a
one.
place
That's a
that
good
people are
one.
tapping, right?
Oh, I can tell you, I've tapped in traffic for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're in a really trafficy area, this is really your mode. Turn that music down and start tapping. Um, so I'm glad to hear that you said that you've done that before, because I'd
And
love for people to understand the practicality of something like this. It's not a tool that requires this big, huge, ceremonious experience to drop into. You can literally just find those meridian points and then tap in and just keep going.
yeah, and I use it on a daily basis.
Okay.
I go through it every day because I know, can I get better? Yes.
Mhm.
And that's the simple answer. I can get better. So why would I stop using it?
So just curious, when you're using it every day, like you are, do you go through a routine of specific points, or do you just use it when you notice something coming up? Like, is it more of a, let me start my day in this great mindset and be fresh, and I just go and I tap in the morning and just kind of get into that space? Or is it as things are occurring, you're like, you know what, let me stop and tap?
I'd say both. I'd
Okay.
say both.
Mm,
And I like to, you know, get become awake and aware and
mhm,
start my day and then take the time to go through a routine and to assure myself, hey, I'm good enough. I'm
mhm,
strong enough. I'm healthy
mhm.
enough. I can be happy. Anything that may be applying what I'm feeling at that particular time at a particular day. But then there's times that, you know, maybe people trying your patience. Maybe
Mhm.
you're in that traffic jam. Maybe things are not going exactly right the way you want them to.
Mhm.
And it's about a good thing that, like, okay, I'm going to discharge this energy. Because I think of it like this. If you got a battery and you have a flashlight, right? And the
Mhm.
battery isn't making good contact, that flashlight's not getting the full amount of voltage that it needs. But if
Yeah.
I go and I put the battery in correctly, then the energy's flowing and I get that full brightness of the light.
Mm. So important, and it's such a great analogy. I see more people than not jumping out of bed and jumping into their day, not taking the extra few moments to get in the right mindset. And what I'm hearing you say is just starting that day off. Once you've gotten a chance to wake up and kind of get in your groove, you take that moment to say, okay, let me set myself up for success. We do it in so many other ways, right? We're making a list like, here's what I have to do today. Here's my calendar for meetings. But what about building in that time to make sure you're in the best version of you to start that day? Because the way that day could flow could be much better if you
Uh,
took that few minutes. And it
mhm.
doesn't have to be, 2 hours. It could be 10, 15 minutes of your time.
Oh, it doesn't even take that long. Literally, it's most of the time it's 1 or 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes tops at the beginning of the day. It's one of those things that come up that like, oh, oh, I got a flat tire,
Hmm.
and then it's like, okay, I'm not going to get to where I'm going. I got this and this and this, and okay, now it's time to. Now it might take a little longer. That might take
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but the beginning of the day stuff, it's just like let's get all the energy, all the connections, all moving together, so we're all in flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good word, in flow.
Inflow. Absolutely. Love it. All right, let's talk about hypnotherapy because I'm curious on this one. Hypnotherapy is something that's been around for quite some time. It's been proven to be effective for a variety of reasons. So, for our listeners who may not have had an opportunity to experience hypnotherapy or they're just not aware of it, can you share a little bit more about it? What is it? How does it work? What can people expect?
Okay, I'll start. You said it's been around for a while. It's been around as long as there's been humans.
Mm,
We've been looking to be in trance state for as long as we've been human. And there's a reason
fair.
for it. Because in trance state, we are in our conscious mind and our subconscious mind
Mhm.
at the same time. So we have the ability to use our thinking, rational, intelligent mind, the mind that we think is all knowing and all doing, which
Mm,
it's not.
right. That
And
part
then
right
we
there.
and then we have the subconscious mind, which is
Hmm.
automatic. It takes care of so many things inside of our body. We think about digestion and breathing and heart rate and all these things, but it also takes care of the automatic stuff. I mean, everybody's who drives on a regular basis, they've gotten to a destination without even knowing how they got there.
Hmm.
You go in this autopilot mode, and
Yes.
we do it all the time. It's because we want to have more space for our rational thinking, conscious, intelligent mind to do things. Because if you were to think about, let me think about what color my socks are on my toes, what the temperature is of the room, how much light there is, looking at Chris's face, looking at the background, looking at feeling where I'm sitting all at the same time, you
Hmm.
use up all your thinking ability. You can't focus on
Right.
all those things at once. But the mind is a big recording device. So the subconscious takes that all in and records it all.
Hmm.
But it leaves the space for the conscious mind to do things. Negative part about the conscious mind is it wants to stay where it's at.
Comfortable.
It's very comfortable. And when you
Yes.
change something, it says, no, no, no,
Hmm.
no, 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 don't want to do that because
Right.
this is what Chris does, and he does it this way. So and I use this as always a silly example. I get out of bed and I put my right foot on the floor first.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
don't think about that
Right.
until you think about it. And if
Hmm.
you say, okay, I'm not going to put the right foot on the floor, it's got to be the left foot.
Hmm.
And then you can create a new habit. But inside of that, there's going to be a struggle because the subconscious mind is going to say, no, 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 you put the right foot down first.
Hmm.
And so this is where a lot of people are struggling, especially with habits,
Hmm.
right? We talk about smoking, we talk about weight loss. These are all habits that we
Hmm.
do. We
Hmm.
keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And when we make a change and we change, the subconscious mind says, no, no, no. That's why you hear that people who use gum and patches and and medication don't quit smoking at a very high rate,
Mhm.
and people who go cold turkey have a better chance of quitting than people using gums or patches. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then there comes hypnotherapy, where we have a much higher success rate,
Hmm.
where, up in the 70% range, because we're able to tap into the conscious mind says, I don't want to do this habit anymore.
Hmm.
And we're able to tell the subconscious mind, well, you don't do that habit anymore. That's something you developed, 10, 20, 40 years ago,
Hmm.
and you don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah, so you're going into the operating system.
You're rewriting the program.
Hmm.
And a lot of those programs were written when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
like I, like
everything
I,
always goes back to childhood, I tell you.
yeah, and like I
Sigmund
brought up,
Freud pops up and
yeah, like I brought up before, it's like, you know, when you got beat up, when your teacher yelled at you, embarrassed you.
right.
These things are things that are in the, and you may not even know that they're there because you're
Hmm.
not, and quite frankly, we don't even have to identify those experiences to rewrite the subconscious mind. There's a school of thought in hypnotherapy that says you have to isolate where the incident happened first, and that's where you're going to get the most powerful effects. And that's not true.
Mm.
We have the ability to rewrite our subconscious mind using our rational thinking, intelligent mind when we're in the proper space in hypnosis. And it's
Mm.
interesting because sometimes everybody would think, well, I got to be deep, 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 deep in a trance. And
Hmm.
sometimes the most effective therapy is in very light trance.
Mm. I was gonna say, and the light trance is where I'm sure you were gonna go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, what would you say the benefits of hypnotherapy are? You've given us a great overview. If you had to highlight a few, what would you share?
I would say hypnotherapy is so positive because it's using your rational mind for your greatest good,
Okay.
and by overtaking the routine, the pre-programmed stuff, that push play and let everything come out,
Hmm. Hmm.
we're able to become the adult as
Mm.
opposed to the child.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, taking back that control, taking back your power.
hmm And we're
It's
incorporating the whole mind,
right.
you
It's so
know.
amazing to me even when I'm working with clients to see how many are being led by their inner child. And you don't even realize it. It's not even something that resonates until it's brought to your awareness. And then you're like, oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, that's
How
very,
many
very true.
daily decisions are we making with this inner child that has all of these limiting beliefs attached that we don't even recognize?
Oh, that is so profound, Kristen. That is
Yeah,
really very profound what you just said
yeah,
there.
yeah. It's a real thing. So would you say there's some downsides to hypnotherapy?
I think what the issue with hypnotherapy is that people expect a one session miracle.
Mm,
They expect you're going to hypnotize them, and then the whole world is going to change in an hour or two.
mm,
It doesn't work that way
right.
because 5 days out, 7 days out, 10 days out, 12 days out, somewhere that part of the subconscious is going to kick back and say, "You don't do it that way, and I got to bring you back to where you were," and it's going
Mhm.
to try to bring you back to square one.
Mm,
And this is why we need sessions over a month, 2 months, 3 months, sometimes 6 months, where
mhm,
because people are always trying to go backwards, and then what happens as well is that we get what the client says is their presenting issue, and then the next thing you know, there's 10 other issues that show up.
mm.
Why? Because they were not confident to bring those other issues to the table when they walked
Right.
in.
Peeling back
Oh,
the onion.
yeah, and I might feel embarrassed if I say this, I
Mm-hmm.
might feel like I'm not equal to anybody else if I say or
Mm-hmm.
do this. And then when they understand, when they see the change, they say, okay, well, I feel okay trying to tackle this next. I
Mm-hmm.
feel okay trying to tackle this next. And this is especially true with weight loss clients
Mm.
because their journey is going to take longer.
Mm-hmm.
Basically because, you can't lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but you're going to get sick.
Right.
If you don't eat and you don't drink, yeah, and you go in a sauna, you're going to get
Yeah.
sick.
Right.
Yeah, and I think about the wrestlers who do that, when not what we see on TV, but
Right.
those Olympic athletes, oh, I gotta
Yes.
lose 10
They got to
pounds so I can
cut.
make my weight class.
They
Yeah.
have to cut weight. Absolutely. And they're sitting there with the cup and they're just every ounce of fluid getting it out of their body, spitting, doing all kinds of different
Anything they can
things.
do to get to get
Yeah.
you're going to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take it as a journey and say, okay, well, I'm going to get in this period of time, I'm going to lose this much, or it's my
Mm-hmm.
goal, and then you set reasonable goals, you're going to make your end goal.
Right.
And what really is amazing is that after a certain amount of time, the journey gets so much easier because then they get into this new routine. And of course, something's going to show up that's going to give them a little problem. And we
Mm-hmm.
tackle that. We tackle
Mm-hmm.
that, where there's but I worked with a woman a couple of years ago and she lost 112 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that
It,
amazing?
it, it took 11 months,
Right.
but you think about that, that's 11 pounds a month.
Mm-hmm. That's
That's,
incredible.
yeah, that's a great rate and it's doable. And
Mm-hmm.
you know what? She's kept the weight off.
Wow. Oh, I love it. I think one of the things you were saying that's so important is recognizing you didn't get to where you are overnight. It was over time. So it's unrealistic to think that you were just going to undo it in one session. It just doesn't work like that.
Oh, 100%.
Replacing habits, going in and really breaking that program because it's been running for a while. And so it's been running and it's been your norm. So being able to identify it, recognize it, you're aware of it. Now I go to change it. And now I have to formulate new habits. It's a process.
Oh, I agree with that. And you think about just a 25-year-old person.
Mhm.
They have programs running 20 years,
Right.
and really a terrific place for for hypnotherapy is with teenagers
Mm,
because they are very able to make changes,
hmm.
and the changes they make last years and years and years. Whereas with adults, we've been running that program for so long, and it's kind of like, okay, I can put this program and lock it in the closet, but
Right.
is it going to try to get out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just putting it up on the shelf for now. And
Yeah.
then it sits there in the background and it kind of resurfaces
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
wow. So what can someone expect when they're going through a hypnotherapy session? What does that look like?
Well, inside of the session, we got to talk about obviously, what you're coming to try to work on, and
Hmm.
we talk about it, and usually there's affecting words that the client will give.
Okay.
So they give clues on what they're going to work on. And then we talk about, hey, where is the target today?
Hmm.
Today what is the target we're going to hit?
Hmm.
So after we agree on the target, because it's not like what you see in stage hypnosis where the hypnotist puts you under and then they're going to make you cluck like a chicken and
Yeah.
talking in a language that you don't talk. It's
Right.
not like that because though that is an agreement between the hypnotist and the person who's on stage. They want to be on stage. They want to be the life of the party.
Mm,
They want to perform.
okay.
Whereas with hypnotherapy, we're doing therapeutic stuff. So we
Mhm.
have to have an agreement because if in the middle of your therapy, I tell you, um, you now cluck like a chicken.
Hmm.
You're gonna take that suggestion and you're just gonna throw it in the garbage. It makes no sense. But if we come up with targets, we after we identify the targets, we go through the induction into the trance, which can be I know 200 ways to hypnotize people, so it's all according to what they need.
Okay. Nice. So let's jump in now to EFT and hypnotherapy combination. Throughout your journey, you were determined to support your clients, to find peace and overcome obstacles. Your work led you to begin to incorporate a combo of the two. This is kind of your signature thing. So
Mhm.
you found that to be more effective. So can you explain how combining these two have worked together and have delivered really profound results for your clients?
This is the positive. When we're working EFT, the person is in a conscious state.
Okay.
Now they're accessing their subconscious, but they're in a conscious state.
Okay.
And they will be, like you were talking before, peeling back the onion. The
Mm-hmm.
onion begins to peel back so that the targets become easier to identify for the hypnosis part of it. So
Mm,
we get the energy moving, we get the person open to having the energy eliminated permanently, and we use
okay.
the hypnosis to work the subconscious mind to come in concert with the conscious mind.
Mm. I love that analogy because I mean, I'm just picturing the symphony playing and all of the instruments kind of syncing and going together to create that perfect harmony.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Were there any aha moments along the way, like when you started to pull these two together, that really made you say, this is it, this is the formula?
Well, as you were talking about earlier, I had a client that we were doing EFT, and the client kept resetting
Mm.
and resetting and resetting, and it was difficult.
Hmm.
And that's what led me to think about learning hypnotherapy. But I did have one client, and this client was very much stuck. She kept making her world smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where the client did not come out of the house anymore. Client was afraid to go to the mailbox,
Okay.
and the outside world became danger.
Hmm.
And through letting go of the energy that the outside world is not dangerous, it is where it's supposed to be, and
Hmm.
then being able to open up to, hey, there's a possibility that I can go back to what I was doing. And over time, going to the mailbox, getting taking a walk around the corner, and getting
Hmm.
in the car and going to the store. And it just kept building until person wanted to go out and meet new people,
Mm.
start a business.
Okay.
And that's huge.
Wow.
That's
That is
huge.
that is very huge. You were assisting someone with reclaiming their life because going into that space of being so fearful to engage with others outside of their own bubble, which felt safe, um, must have been so limiting, and it must have been so draining for the client. So to be able to overcome that and recognize, yes, there are healthy fears that exist, but how do we get back to that space of healthy fear versus it just taking over your whole entire life?
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a healthy fear that I don't cross the street without looking both ways.
Right.
That's a healthy fear.
Right.
Um, there's a fire
Hmm.
over there. I don't go over there.
Right.
That's healthy fear.
Hmm.
That's using what's to protect you. But when
Absolutely.
you're trying to protect yourself by not engaging,
Hmm.
we're human. Let's
Right.
be honest. And your title is surviving the human experience.
Yes.
We're human, and
Yes.
part of being human is engaging with other humans.
Hmm.
And
It is.
if you no longer do that, you're losing your life.
Right. Yeah. Oh, so profound. All right, so I want to talk about some client success stories. I know you just shared a really beautiful one, but as a practitioner, you've had the opportunity to work with so many along the way, and you've helped them find that peace and overcome those obstacles. Can you share another story or two about other clients that you've just had amazing experiences with?
I'll share one that was one really quickly, and I'll go on to another one.
Yeah.
I was on a stage presenting about EFT,
Okay.
and someone was and the crowd was asking, "We want a demo." So this man came up and they said, "I can't lift my right arm above my shoulder. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't go up." So, first I test, obviously. I'm gonna make sure there's no physical injuries because I don't want this person hurting themselves. But there
Mm-hmm.
was no physical injury, it was just pain.
Hmm.
And so we tapped. We went through the routine. We identified, and then there at one point, about 3 minutes in, he kind of shuddered and let out this sigh.
Hmm.
And at that point, I said, "Okay, let's test." And the arm went all the way up, and there was no pain.
Oh, so he released it.
And he still has no pain. I still contact this person every year or so,
Mm-hmm.
and he still has no pain.
Oh, I love it.
And he's a physical laborer. So
Okay.
not having the ability to lift his arm above his head was
Mm-hmm.
very debilitating for him.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. Very debilitating, because it was impacting his ability to make an income and a living
Yeah,
for his
and
family.
and the
Yeah.
other one I wanted to share, and I'm going to be very, very tactful about this
Mm-hmm.
because it involved some very horrific uh, physical abuse.
Okay.
And this person had this going on for years
Mm-hmm.
and years, and it was affecting her physical body.
Mm.
It was affecting skin.
Mm-hmm.
It was affecting mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It was affecting the legs.
Mm.
And when I came in contact with this person, they were having it was all stuck in their bowel.
Mm.
And over a period of time, we were able to overcome the bowel. The
Mm.
skin started healing. The
Mm.
legs started working a lot better.
Mm.
And there was no physical injury in the legs. It was
Right.
all energy
Energy.
that was being held.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, the amazing part was when the the uh, the skin on the face started healing.
Mm.
It was an amazing thing to see.
Mm. Wow. Ugh. It's stories like that that make everything you do worth doing. When you can see the impact of the work and the people that are brought into your space, they're brought in for a reason, right? And it's them doing the healing, and we're here to help support and facilitate along the way. But when you get to see that happen, oh, it's such an incredible experience.
You just said something really great there. And what I tell people all the time, I don't, I'm not a healer. In other words, I don't pretend or try to say that I have this magical energy that's going to come
Right.
out of me,
Yes.
but I'm a facilitator.
Mm-hmm.
And the analogy I like to use is you're the bus, and I'm going to drive the bus for a little bit.
I like that.
And then I'm going to get out and you're going to take control again.
I like that. That's beautiful. I'm glad that you share that because I too share that philosophy. It's the person healing themselves. We're here as the conduit. We are here. holding the space and supporting along the way. The coach on the sidelines,
Well,
the players in the game, they just need a little extra support at that time.
I agree with that, and I also
Yeah.
tell them you were looking for somebody to learn from,
Mm,
and when the student is seeking, the teacher shows.
mm. Oh, I like that. I like it. Oh, all right. So we are coming to a close here. We could talk for hours, I know. But I would love for you to share one message with our listeners. If you could share only one, what would it be?
Well, I'll tell you, my what I feel is that I'm one person, right? I'm the correct person for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that. I understand. I know that.
Yeah.
I'm not correct for all people,
Mm,
but for the people who seek my help
hmm
and want and are ready to take the journey,
hmm
they can go to the place where they always dreamed that they could be. The person that they thought they were, they knew they were deep down inside of them, and become that person and become empowered and powerful.
Mm, I love it. All right, Chris, share with our listeners how they can get in touch with you if they'd like to schedule a session or learn more about your work. Where can they find you?
Well, my place is really easy. It's EFT
Mhm.
Hypnotherapy.com
Well, that is very simple. I like it.
because and I came up with it. I said, I'm doing these two things. I'm just gonna squash the name together, put it, and that's been my home. I also have you can find me in the same email, EFT hypnotherapy at Gmail,
Okay.
which is easy enough to find.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm also on TikTok at
Okay.
EFT Hypnotherapy. And
Nice.
my telephone number is 201
Mhm.
203 4756. And
Perfect.
I'll repeat that one more time. It's
Mhm.
201 203 4756. And I wanted to share one more incredible thing.
Yes, please do.
And next weekend, I'm going to be doing an additional training, and it's called Matrix Reimprinting. And it's a advanced form of EFT where we tap into the matrix.
Ooh, intriguing.
And that will be added to my not only credentials that you see behind me, but what I do with my clients. And I'm very excited about this.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing that information. And for our listeners, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode of Surviving the Human Experience podcast. Until next time, be well and stay blessed.